Hello, dear sister. It's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video blog. I've been busy in the self-publishing realm. It's frustrating. It took me 5 days to write my book, and it's taken me a month to work with these people to get it published. Something I'm finding a little intolerable, which brings us to the subject of today's video blog, which is intolerability. I was going to talk about a couple of other things. I have a couple other topics queued up, but the one that is presenting itself to me right now is intolerability. It's funny, I usually only do a video blog if I'm in a good place, if I'm feeling inspired. I'm not feeling that. I'm not. And it's okay. So, the topic of intolerability. When you're on a spiritual journey, if you're in life, you're going to come across many moments, many periods of time where you experience things that you just find intolerable. If you are on a spiritual journey, you will resist those feelings of intolerability, thinking maybe that there's something wrong with you. There's this misconception on the spiritual journey that it should be all bliss and light and happiness, and if you're not feeling it that way, then you're doing something wrong. Well, the path to awakening, the path to enlightenment, the path to your higher self is not, for the most part, happy or blissful. There was a meme floating around recently. I don't remember what it says, but it talks about how enlightenment is a destructive process. Absolutely destructive process, because you are chipping away, tumbling down all the things that are actually keeping you from yourself as your true source. So it's not pretty, it's not light, it's not easy. If it was, everyone would do it effortlessly. It takes a badass warrior to be able to do it. I'm in a place right now, after many months of happiness, creativity, and bliss, for the most part, but I'm in a place right now of total intolerability. Thankfully, I'm also at a place where I realize that that's okay. In the past, when these feelings would come up, I would think, okay, resist it. This intolerance means there's something wrong with you. There's something you need to change. You're doing it wrong. Um, and so I talk about this in my book with secondary emotions. You take that primary feeling of intolerability and you add things to it like guilt and shame and remorse, and you're doing it wrong, and that makes you stuck in it. And frankly, I have been a little stuck in it. I absolutely have. It's so funny. When you're in the light, you feel like you're always going to be in the light, and there's no way you could ever be dark again. When you're in the dark, you're thinking, you have amnesia of the light. You can't even remember how you got there, or what the things you were thinking in there, or you don't remember how to get back. I have been in the light for so long now, I really thought I would not go back to the dark. However, even though I have been muddling around there for a couple of days now, maybe going on a week, there is this core part of me that's remembering that whatever I'm feeling is exactly what I'm supposed to be feeling. And my intolerance right now is just of limits of any kind. My intolerance right now is of anything that doesn't reflect my beauty and my truth and my love. It's sort of like I was feeling relief when talking to my higher self, and she's saying, you know what? Your intolerability is absolutely appropriate. It's sort of like that saying of, again, I don't know these quotes verbatim, but the flower blooming when it becomes so uncomfortable to remain in a tight little bud that you just have to bloom. And I have definitely been blooming the past few months, but I feel like my roots are still stuck in shit. And I'm finding that intolerable. I'm feeling like it's time for a total life makeover. Like life has to be made over. Um, and I'm finding anything less than my true love, my true beauty, my true truth is intolerable. And so I think we have to get to this point of intolerability and be okay with it and know that it's appropriate and even use it as fuel to break through to the other side. Um, I want to use one of our sisters as an example who's commented recently on the video blogs of just these endless cycles of IVF and disappointment after disappointment after disappointment. I can see her um, right there on the cusp of declaring, this is intolerable. I will not tolerate these limits, this disappointment any longer. Intolerability can be a very potent, powerful place of alchemy if we are intolerable within our self-love. So, I was shown this little picture. It's been a few days since I've been in this intolerability, and I was shown this little picture of a circle with intolerability and then a bigger circle around it, which is self-love. I can have my self-love be bigger than the intolerability. And to do that, all I do is I absolutely love myself through it. I've been trying to get myself out of it, like just try and get myself out of it, but that's not the route I'm supposed to take, which is why I'm still feeling it. So the only thing that has brought me relief and like a sigh from my higher self is to say, this is absolutely appropriate. This is where you need to be right now. And not just a little more creative, not just a little more money, not just a little more healthy, not just a little improvement in the relationships, but a total overhaul, a totally new level of existence in all areas. All areas. That is the only thing that I will find tolerable. And owning that and commanding that from a place of self-love, I love myself enough to say, I'm not tolerating this anymore. I was in my closet today looking at all my old clothes and hating them all, the energy that stuck to them from the years of being in the dark night of the soul, and saying, I cannot wear any of these clothes anymore. So I put on some old clothes mixed with new clothes, and it feels a little new. I put on some jewelry and a sparkly scarf for a belt, and it's not enough, but it's like this action. There's an action that says, okay, I can't tolerate this, and so I'm going to take an action to do something new. The timing of it all is still, it's not within our control. It's not. But the timing gets longer when we don't love ourselves through it. So the only way to shorten things up is the self-love that I'm always talking about. Love yourself. Every feeling you're feeling is absolutely appropriate. Absolutely appropriate. And if you're feeling intolerable of something, it means you're on the cusp of something new. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong if you don't want to tolerate something anymore. You really just don't want to tolerate uh, limits. It's the time to bust through those. You don't want to accept things that make you feel small or weak or like a failure. A lot of women find me when they find they're trying to conceive journey totally intolerable. Like, I just can't do it this way anymore. And so with my information and spirit baby wisdom, they find a new way of opening themselves up to a new plane. So it's time for that now. Are you feeling intolerant? Good. You're on the cusp of busting through something. Own the intolerance with confidence. I am confidently intolerant of this trying to conceive journey, of these failing IVFs, of anything that is keeping you down. Be forceful and confident in your intolerance and command something new. You love yourself enough to invite a new level of existence. It's time for that right now. So if you're intolerant, celebrate it. Celebrate it. Even if it doesn't feel good, just love yourself, tolerate it. Know it's appropriate, and know that you will be delivered somewhere else very soon. Just love yourself as much as you can. I'm loving the shit out of you, and me too.